Dam 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 dam. We're live. Thursday, the 23rd of June, 2022. The world has just recovered from the pandemic. We're out of lockdown. We're in a credit crisis. No, we're not. We're in a what are we in at the moment? A cost of living crisis, fuel crisis, and this is the current affairs that we report on today. But we're going to talk property tonight. None of that nonsense, although some of it does intertwine. So I'm here with Matt, the Reading Agent is his Facebook page, looking after Central Reading, obviously in Berkshire. We've got Chris already checking in on LinkedIn. Good evening, Chris. If you're watching, you're joining us now. If you could just let us know that you can hear us, that would be phenomenal. Just give us a couple of thumbs up or just drop in the comments loud and clear, because we are across 4 different platforms. So that would be amazing. So thanks for checking in with us on LinkedIn, Chris. I'm here with Stuart at Maidenhead Avocado Partner. So definitely follow him on Facebook for all things Maidenhead. And I'm here with Will, one half or 51%, should we say, Will, of
the better half
of Will and Mike. So follow those guys for Crowthorne, Sandhurst and Finch, Will and Mike Property Agents. So yeah, if you are checking in, a couple of people checking in now, please pop us a like so we know you can hear us loud and clear. Going to cover quite a lot today. We've got some things that people need to know, and that is based on what's happened with listings over the last 4 weeks in Berkshire as an area. What happened at the most recent budget. We've got Kelly checking in. Good evening, Kelly. Thanks for joining us. And if you could just let us know that you can hear us, that would be fantastic. But yeah, thanks for joining us. And if anyone's joining us live, you've got questions for us, pop it in the comments. We will get to them. We love a live question. We don't mind a rude one. We don't mind a topical one. We don't mind a random one. We're all thick-skinned. We're happy to get stuck into any questions. But Will, I'll come to you first. How are you? Kelly, thank you so much for letting us know you can hear us. That's brilliant. We're all good on Facebook. But how are you, Will? How is Crowthorne, Sandhurst, Finch? How is the world of Will and Mike?
Yeah, it's a very busy world at the moment. We have been seeing lots of houses, which is good. We've been selling lots of houses, which is also good. Lots of buyers, lots of offers. So as far as we can see, the market is still busy. So the world of Will and Mike is still all good.
So base rate went up to obviously 1.25. Was it 1.25?
Yeah.
1.25 from 1%, which went up from 0.7%, 0.75% the month before. So we've had a 0.5% in 1 month in reality.
Yeah.
You're obviously checking in with mortgage brokers and things like that. Has that slowed up buyer inquiries on new listings since that's happened, or is it still active, or is it the same? What's happened?
I think as far as we can see, obviously having a good mortgage advisor is really important, but I think as far as we can see, it's probably a bit early to know if the sort of interest rates have had a massive effect on the market as of yet. What we do know is that people that are wanting to buy now are obviously wanting to fix in a good mortgage rate before it goes up, say in the next 6 months. So there are people now saying, look, I want to buy this house, I want to be in ideally before Christmas, as we'll come on to. So they're trying to fix those rates in, but I don't think we've seen a massive effect as of yet. I think it's probably a bit early to tell, but I don't know about you guys.
Interesting. Stuart, I know you've launched a couple of great properties recently. Since the base rate changed, have you noticed anyone being a bit uncertain, or any of your sales going through? You having any chats with buyers that are uncertain, or is everyone still just super hyped about the market boom and everyone's okay?
Still super hyped. Everyone's okay. I would say, with what Will said as well, a few people have made sure their applications, although they were a couple of days after the Bank of England increase, their brokers who were on it were like, look, if we submit the case today, you'll get a good rate. If we wait another week, that bank might push it up. One of my good friends, he had to fill his paperwork in 10 o'clock in the evening, get it back so it could get submitted, but he got a better rate for it. So, you know, and I've always said it, if you're in rented, you're paying 100% interest. So you're going to be the ones who want to buy a property, and 1.25% pennies. Like, you would have taken a 5 or a 10% loan for a car. So actually, I don't think it's changed anyone's sort of focus on the market.
It's still the cheapest money you'll borrow. You know, that's the reality of it, isn't it? The mortgage money is still the cheapest money you can borrow. It will be interesting to see how it unfolds, because in last week's chat, Matt, we went through what the rate changes have actually done, didn't we? And we kind of looked at what you can get with a 90%, 95% or a 75% loan to value. So if you put in 25% deposit down versus putting 5%, actually the gap was like this now. It was unbelievable, you know, for a 95% mortgage. I think last week it was maybe 2.79 or 2.69, whereas for a 75% mortgage, 25% deposit, it was like 2.59. There was only a little bit in it. So it's very geared up, I think, for first-time buyers, people in rented that are paying really high premium rents at the moment, getting out of rented and getting on the ladder, because you need a small deposit of just 5%, and the rate is still as good as it is for someone remortgaging that's got a chunk of equity in their house, which I've never seen it that close before in the different swings of loan to value. So in Reading, Matt, and in the areas that you're kind of operating in at the moment, obviously a lot of first-time buyers, first-time sellers. What's the whispers? What's the chatter in your marketplace? Because, you know, Reading is a big focal point of Berkshire.
Yeah, it's interesting we talk about interest rates. I've just come from a viewing where I've been talking with a buyer who's in rented. And they just talked about their interest rate going from, well, their mortgage in principle interest rate went from 2.9 to 3.2. Fairly small increase. I think we can all agree that there is that nervousness around rates going up now. And I think I had the conversation with them, like, if you're renting, as Stuart said, it's 100% interest. You know, if you're paying £1,200 a month in rent, how much interest is that in your mortgage? It's worth getting on the ladder now rather than waiting, which isn't specific to Reading, but I think interest rates are a very relevant conversation right now.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing on the interest rates, we talk about the base rate. I just did an Instagram reel, and I threw it on TikTok as well, just to highlight something that I think was missed from that chat. And it was the fact that from the 1st of August, the mortgage market will change significantly, because the Bank of England are going to axe the key mortgage affordability guideline that's been put in play. And I'll explain briefly, and if there's any mortgage advisors watching now or later that want to kind of put their 2 pennies in, please do put some advice for people listening and put it in the comments, and we can kind of utilize it. But as a non-mortgage advisor, I'll give my take on it. So from the 1st of August, up until then, and what we've seen for many, many years, I think since 2014, something like that, is an affordability checker on a mortgage. And effectively what it means, if Will goes to get a mortgage, they'll look at all of his outgoings, they'll look at what the mortgage is going to be, and then they'll base plus a 3% interest rate jump on the mortgage that you're looking to get, and check that affordability is still buffered based on that rate increasing. Now, with everything going on with the cost of living crisis, that would probably make it quite difficult for a lot of people to get a mortgage, because outgoings are so much higher and the interest rates just creeping up a little bit, plus 3%. There'll be a lot of people that couldn't get a mortgage potentially with that kind of, you know, sort of affordability check. Well, from the 1st of August, they're axing that, which effectively means cost of living is not going to impact affordability issues, plus a 3% on the interest rate. I think actually it's quite scary that they're doing that, personally. I think there will be some, I don't know, there might be some silly lending going on, but that's not for us, that's for the banks. Will we see what we saw in 2007, 8 with the US and stuff like that? I don't think so. I think we're all a little bit more sensible than that. But it does mean that people that have got very high outgoings can still potentially get a mortgage from the 1st of August. So if you're listening and you've got questions around that affordability, throw them in the comments. Stuart, I saw you kind of nodding on that. It's obviously something that you've looked into and probably spoke to people about as well. But I think that will have a positive impact on buyer activity from the 1st of August.
Yeah, and I think, especially if you've been stuck with your current bank and you're just sitting there renewing with your current bank because you can't get a new bank's lending criteria, that'll definitely help as well.
Mhm.
So from a remortgage point of view, and from a first-time buyers, like there's loads of people I know that are in rented who possibly pay $1,400 on rental a month, but they can only get a mortgage amount of $1,200 a month.
Yeah.
For the last 5 years, they've been doing more than that already. So I think if it helps people like that, I'm all for it. But yeah, I think it's only a positive thing.
Yeah, we've spoke about that kind of rental versus mortgage thing before on these live chats, and it does blow my mind that someone could, rent a property at £1,800 a month for the last 3 years, pay it perfectly fine, couldn't get a mortgage approved for £1,100 a month. It's just like, it's not right. Plus, also tenants. We're going off topic, but I think tenants should definitely have their rent logged into their credit rating in the UK.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you've been paying it for 3 years, why is that not impacting your credit rating in a positive way? That blows my mind as well. But maybe that's a convo for Mike and Tristan to jump on. Will, you mentioned you're still really busy where you are. I'll data bomb everyone today because I don't know why I've got data in front of me. What a lot of people thought at the turn of the year is it would start to just level out. And I think maybe we all thought the same, see prices just incrementally go up but level out. In terms of sales agreed across the UK, so properties going from for sale to under offer, between March and June, there's been a 52.25% increase. So in light of cost of living, all of the stuff going on with economics, inflation reports, between March and this month, over 52% more sales being agreed in comparison to, let's call it Q1. So that shows the market is not really showing any signs at the moment of slowing down at all. Do you think prices in Crowthorne, Sandhurst, Finch might get out of control if that carries on, or do you think there's just a good demand for it?
I think certainly in terms of where we are, obviously the 3 areas are all quite different, but they're all still very much in demand. Crowthorne particularly has always been popular for the schools, and right now there's, I think a total of about 32 houses for sale in Crowthorne. Sandhurst again, has always been popular. Finchampstead, just outside of Wokingham. I think a point that may have been discussed in previous weeks, you are starting to see a little bit more now that some of the reductions are starting to creep in a little more. Having said that, if you've got a house that's priced correctly, it's still going over the course of the weekend. It's still going over asking price or over the marketing price, and you're still getting a number of offers come in. But I'm lucky with the area that I work in. It's always in demand.
Yeah, it's one of those family-based areas, which a lot of the home counties are. We're fortunate the marketplace that we work in is pretty hectic for good reasons. Matt, flying back to you, obviously we're talking interest rates, we're talking affordability. Having a good mortgage advisor, like Will said, is so important, right? In terms of with your clients, what are the alarm bells to look out for potentially a mortgage advisor that maybe doesn't know exactly what they're talking about? Or what would you look for in a mortgage advisor? What would be the kind of takeaways from your experience?
Yeah, so I would say a red flag for me when I was looking for my mortgage, somebody who's too quick to give you a number that you can borrow. Because what a mortgage advisor does, if you're new to this, is they look into your income and your expenditure basically and figure out how much you can borrow. But that is obviously different for everyone. So something I found getting my mortgage is a lot of advisors were very quick to say, oh, you could probably borrow up to this, or you could probably borrow up to that. But actually, once we run the numbers, it was a completely different number. And the reason you want a mortgage advisor is to help you with that stuff. So I suppose in terms of advice, just get your finances straight and look for someone who you like and trust. Same with an estate agent. Find someone you can like and trust. That would be my 2 pennies worth.
And sometimes I think people get confused between mortgage advisors, financial advisors, independent financial advisors, and then people that maybe have gone to their bank and they spoke to someone directly at the bank that potentially is not able to give them advice, but they can supply them with products. And I think it's important that people understand the sort of differences between those type of people. Because I know if I go to HSBC that I bank with, I've been in property for 20 years. I don't really need them to give me advice in HSBC. I need them to tell me what the best deals are and I'll make the decision on it. But if I wanted proper financial advice on a strategy around maybe selling 2 properties and buying another, or, you know, looking to do an upsize because I'm self-employed now, not employed, then I might need some proper financial advice. And it's important that you speak to someone independent. And then you've got the estate agent in-house brokers. And a lot of people say, yeah, talk to this person, best in the world, blah, 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 won all the awards, etc., etc. But in reality, the estate agent's just going to get 200 quid out of passing you their details. So I think it's important, you know, Stuart, that we just make sure buyers are talking to the right people. And for me, that would be a really good, solid, independent mortgage advisor, ideally not attached to an estate agency, as in employed by them. And that would be the best place that I would start, and get some Facebook recommendations maybe would be a good thing as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I think all the good brokers I've known over the years, I've probably been recommended to. Not necessarily when I've called up someone to book a viewing. I've been hard sales. Well, you can view this property, but you really need to speak to this advisor first. And I think with what Matt said, like, if the broker can come back to you with some solid figures and give you some good tips, they're the people to trust more than just someone who wants you as a number in the office, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've obviously dealt with some mortgage advisors over the years. Any advice for people before they go for a mortgage appointment in terms of what they should have prepared and what they should have ready?
I think you need to have a clear understanding of what your outgoings are each month. Obviously, you know, whether or not you've got any debts or loans that you've taken. So you need to make sure your sort of personal finances are all straightened out. So when you get to the appointment, you know, you can have an honest chat and a very detailed chat, rather than saying, "Oh, I better come back to you on that." So I think that's a couple of things that you need to have prior to going to the advisor. Obviously, you need to know your deposit amount, etc., etc., and an idea of what you think you'd like to buy. You know, what you think is possible within your budget, because then the advisor is going to tell you whether or not right now that's the right thing to do, whether or not you need to go away for another year and fix this or that, or start saving some more. So I think that's my advice. And certainly in terms of a broker, as you guys have just touched on, I think similar to us, you know, someone that is, you know, we've got a couple of good guys that are local, and you know, they're mostly family men. They run their own businesses. They have that genuine interest. It's not someone that you've kind of been passed to down the line and said, right, so and so is going to look after you now. I'm not worried about it. We mostly deal with the owners themselves as well.
Yeah, great tips there. It's nice to see Taryn, I think that's pronounced Taryn, is watching, and yeah, said good advice. So yeah, from our point of view, independent mortgage advisors, ideally talk to someone that owns the business. They're going to be really passionate about doing right by you, not attached to the bank directly, not attached to an estate agent directly, is definitely the way to go. Yeah, good stuff, gents. Getting stuck into summer. 1st of July is round the corner, which I believe is officially the first day of summer, or officially when the seasons call it summer. So the sun is erratic. Some days it's raining, some days it's roasting. I found that on the weekend because I ran through all different types of seasons. But what marketing strategies or quick tips have we got for people that are looking to put their house on the market July and August? What are we thinking? I mean, I know one quick thing that I would throw out there is I'm noticing where we've had a lot of heat recently, there's a lot of singed grass out there at the moment. As I'm going around doing photos, a lot of the grass is getting a little bit destroyed, getting a bit green, not green. That's one thing that I would say is if you're thinking of getting your house on the market in 4 weeks, get some feed on your grass, get them watered, and make sure, because on the video and the photos, green grass versus yellow grass is phenomenal. I can make green grass in Photoshop. It's difficult to do it on camera for a video. So yeah, what tips would you give, Matt? And have you thrown any of those out on TikTok? And by the way, your TikTok channel is starting to go a little bit viral, I've noticed recently. So lots of likes and comments coming on your channel at the moment.
Yeah, it's funny. I posted 2 videos today, and it's always the ones which take me 2 seconds which get the most views, and the ones you spend ages on.
Authentic. Yeah, anyway. Authentic. So tips for summer selling. What would you say? What's your 2 top ones?
Yeah, so you make a great point about the grass. Absolutely. Even a deal I did last year, just spray the grass. You can do that now. I know it's cheating, but you just want your advert to just be an invitation for buyers to come and see it. And so the more you can do to make it look picture perfect, the better. You know, we can do so much with adding in a blue sky, but the more you can do to make your house just look picture perfect for those photos, it goes a long way.
Good stuff. I think Mike is on the avocado channel, because it's not me, because I'm here and I'm finger free. And he is asking, hello, gents, are you expecting a lull in the market over summer holidays? I mean, we said where we're up to now, but looking into the future, I guess the answer is we don't know. But in terms of what we've spoke about over the last sort of 21 minutes, I would say none of us are expecting that, really. Anyone got any counters to that? I think we're going to see a really, really busy summer holiday of activity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially if EasyJet keeps striking, because no one's going on holiday. So, you know, what a nightmare that is for a lot of people. But be safe, upgrade your house, go on holiday next year. That would be my advice. That's a very estate agency thing to say. I do apologise. It's not my style anymore. But there we go. How strange, actually. I just mentioned that I bank with HSBC. I do have a mortgage with HSBC. Alexa must be listening, because I've just had an email from them. There you go. That's crazy. Ryan Bloomfield, in the summer months, do you think it's important for estate agents to be able to offer viewings late into the evenings? Makes a really important point, because in the winter it's difficult when it's dark at 4 o'clock to do the viewing at 7 o'clock in the rain. But on the flip side to that, at the moment, you could probably do a viewing up to about 9:45, maybe, for light. So, yeah, great point. Will, you were saying yes straight away.
Yeah.
Is there any harm in an estate agent going home, putting the kids to bed, having a bit of dinner, flying out to do a viewing at 9:45 and being back at home for Love Island, if that's your scene? What do you reckon?
I think that's a great point. And actually, I always bring this example up, but over the course of the bank holiday, the Jubilee weekend, I did an open house on the Sunday. And it was so worth doing. I was there from like 9:30 in the morning up until literally about 5:30 at night. It meant that loads of buyers were available, loads of people were free to come and have a look, and everybody else was closed. So it's imperative that people now are making the most, or agents are making the most of this weather. Absolutely, you know, if somebody was really keen to view and they wanted to view at 8:30 at night, yeah, we're all local to the area. It's no job for us to pop out. And in fact, that was going to be one of my summer tips, was make sure you pick an estate agent that's always open.
Great summer tip. Yeah. There's only a few that are open after 7 or available after 7. And I think they're pink with avocados on the top of their boards, but there we go. Stuart, I didn't give you the opportunity to give me your 2 summer selling tips. So yeah, Ryan raises a fantastic point. I've got another great point here from Stephen when we're going to talk about solicitors. That might take us to the end of the call when we got into solicitor and conveyancing chat. But first of all, Stuart, your summer selling tips, what have you got for us?
Leave some drinks out for your viewers, you know, some nice cold drinks, or, you know, some water in a jug. And the second tip's probably more for the estate agent than the seller itself, but you're going to have to take longer to do that viewing, because if people are hot and bothered, they're going to need more time to go around it a little bit slower. especially like on some of the bungalows and stuff, you're going to just need more time. So choose an agent that's not going to pack them in like sardines, and just take time with people. And like you said, late night viewings, if that's what it has to be to sell it, that's what it has to be.
You make a good point. On a hot day, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, doing an open house when it's been 30 degrees is probably not the most pleasant experience. But when it's a little bit cooler in the evening, sometimes that's the better time to do the viewing on the weekend. So yeah, good point on that element of things. So Stephen's mentioned here on Facebook, good evening to you. With the property market going so mad, and we've said it still is crazy, should solicitors take more care with checks on properties? So solicitors and surveyors, is anyone experiencing any undervaluing at the moment, or downvaluing, I should say, from surveyors? Has anyone had any of that? I know there was one, I think the other day, that I heard of.
We did. We had one recently. It was sadly something over in Butlers Park in Crowthorne, and the surveyor had gone out there. I hope he's not watching, but done a very quick job on it. Apparently quite a young chap, and he sort of basically come out and downvalued it by about 20,000. And there was clear and sufficient evidence to show that it was worth the extra 20,000. So the buyer's gone to appeal it, but yeah, that was a really strange one. So I don't know whether or not anyone else has had that.
I think I think it might have been Ellen was in HQ the other day, and she was pulling her hair out about a down valuation that just made no sense. But yeah, I guess that there is an element of those. But from a solicitor point of view, let's just touch on that subject, because it's been difficult, hasn't it, for conveyancing since the pandemic's changed. I mean, they've been bombarded with a hell of a lot of transactions. We just spoke about, in 3 months, 52% increase on transactions. Obviously, all the stamp duty rush. I don't think solicitors have drastically changed the way they work since whenever. So I think that's been a difficult thing for the property market, because transactions are, speed of sale is as high as it's ever, or as fast as it's ever been, but actually the transaction speed is probably as slow as it's ever been at the moment, which means the amount of properties under offer for those conveyancers and people involved in solicitor and legal work, and also the mortgage lenders with their conveyancing part of it, is just bursting at the seams again, I think, across the UK. So yeah, I think solicitors should be doing a little bit more in the early stages from checks. And I think for sellers that have got their house on the market, that are ready to instruct a solicitor the next day, I think solicitors could do a lot more with that seller prior to sale, to help the speed of the transaction along, because there's a very good chance that seller's going to be under offer inside 2 weeks. And that 2-week window, where we're now probably 4 weeks over where we would normally be on transaction speed, that could halve that back to just being 2 weeks over if solicitors did a lot more work on sellers before they're sold. And I get, if you're busy, you think that's not priority, but you've got to build from the bottom to get it going at the top. Matt, what's your thoughts on that? Is that sort of fair comment? Are you finding solicitors do much work on sellers when they're not sold?
I don't know, and I absolutely agree with what you're saying. To answer the question on the screen, I think they are taking care with the checks, but I think perhaps there's always this divide, isn't there, with agents and solicitors, where they do their job and we do our job, and it needs to be a more collaborative approach for the sake of the client. But it's frustrating for everyone involved when, as you say, those checks aren't done early on in the transaction, which is then holding things up 2, 3, 4 weeks further down the line, which is time which doesn't need to be spent waiting for the deal to complete, had all the ducks been in a row in the first place.
Yeah, so Stephen's talking from experience here by the looks of it. The solicitor made a massive mistake on checks on the property with the day before exchange, and actually Mike's been in HQ today dealing with a property that was due to complete today that didn't complete today. because the solicitor for the buyer has made a bit of a doo-doo, and therefore it's not able to complete today. So I think there are mistakes being made, and I think part of that is because I don't think solicitors have got a handle on their workload since the stamp duty. I think it's still carried on, and really solicitors almost need to kind of draw a line in the sand and start dealing with cases at the bottom better. And I think they're just chasing the hamster wheel at the top, and potentially recruiting inexperience, because it's hard out there at the moment to recruit good quality conveyancing people, because everyone's so busy, they're not moving, from business to business with experience. Therefore, the sort of junior people are being pushed into doing more potentially, and that's where the errors come in. But yeah, it's a shame to hear that. I mean, talking about collaboration, Mike from your business partner Will was sat next to me about 2 hours ago, actually, on the phone to one of the solicitors, where there was a bit of an error somewhere along the chain, and the conversation they had was just like two people helping each other. He had the whole phone call on loudspeaker, which was slightly irritating because I was trying to edit a video, but I didn't want to interrupt. But anyway, he was chatting away to the solicitor, and they had a great conversation. And actually, the solicitor at the end of the call thanked Mike for the work that he'd done and for not pressuring her and giving her the information needed for her to then get on with her job. And I think that really is the way things need to be. And I think Stephen's mentioned there that was him as well. He didn't go through to completion, which that's unheard of. That's unbelievable that's happened there. So what a shame. But yeah, that collaboration with solicitors, we're getting much better at that, I think, with the way that we work at Avocado. But still a lot of work to go in the industry, right?
I agree, and I think I was just about to say, Stephen, I'm sorry to hear that. I know Mike's obviously been working on the case for you today, but it makes you realise, doesn't it, that actually we spoke about they've not been able to catch up with the numbers sort of since COVID, but like us, you can contact us near enough any time on mobiles. So if a lot of them are working remotely from home, for example, you ring and ask to speak with the case handler, and so is working remotely today, so it's only by email. But actually, would it not be better to say, okay, well, is there a home number or a working from home number? So, like we've moved on, you wonder whether or not there are other systems that can help them move on as well.
Yeah, I agree. Needs a relook, doesn't it, for sure. There's a few things I think that will come out of this year that could do with a bit of a relook, but we don't know where it's going to go. And Stephen, I didn't realise that was actually Stephen, because obviously I'm not dealing with that case. But I heard Mike on the phone, and he was pretty passionate about what he was trying to get across there. And I think by the end of it, hopefully we'll get that sorted, and appreciate the compliment there, Stephen, as well, when you probably had a very stressful day. So have a beer, relax, and I'm sure Will and Mike will take care of it for you. So, gents, that's the Berkshire chat. We're pretty much at the end of the call. Does anyone else have anything that they want to throw? Any advice to sellers or buyers, or tips, or anything that they want to share? Has anyone got any kind of sexy secret listings up and coming? Matt, anything on the horizon that you want to maybe not give it all away, but anything that's worth checking out on your Facebook page for a Beat the Portals soon?
Did a Beat the Portals this morning, listing on co-listing with Dan, off of Dan and Neil, which is what I'm going to be working on tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. Head to my Facebook page, check out the Beat the Portals. Video will be live late tomorrow. Awesome.
Okay. Yeah, let's check that one out. How many bedrooms?
1 bed, 1 bath.
1 bed, 1 bath. Nice.
It's the perfect first time apartment.
Okay, well, 95% mortgages are cheap, so jump on it. Stuart, what about yourself? Anything on the horizon that's worth just a little bit of info on?
Well, the one I'm sharing with Dan, because Dan's sharing them all out at the moment, is Tarn House, White Waltham. We've got the open house this weekend, 1.35 million. Got 14 people going now. It's busy. It's very busy, and it's your forever home. It's your 30-year home. So hope everyone's bringing their cash with them, because they'll need it on Saturday. But interestingly, got quite a few people who think there's 4 people there that are not yet on market, who have sat there for 2 years waiting for the perfect house to come on and want to sell once they've found it. So it'll be interesting to see whether they get that opportunity. Everyone else is proceedable. So
yeah, it could be that they're going to miss out, and that's why we keep saying on these calls, if you want to find your dream property, you can't be waiting for it. And even if it's 2 years, you've got to go through the process, because a house like that with 14 viewings, dare I say it, they probably don't have a chance. And that'll be such a shame for people.
I hope they do, but I also hope they don't, because I want to sell it and get.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The owners
of course. I mean, our interest is to try and help them. You know, we would love to, but it's going to be really difficult for them. So you've definitely got to be in that power position. We say it all the time, get in that power. And the house is beautiful. Check out the video on Stuart's page. It's the kind of mock or the Tudor looking style one. It's a beautiful, beautiful house. Big plot. Really, really like it. And Will, I think just before I come to you, Kelly said, been really informative. Thank you. Can't wait to start property viewings for our new venture this summer, and can't wait to help you with that, Kelly. And then myself and Tristan are kind of looking after that search as much as we can. So great to know that the advice is being well worth. Oh, everyone's coming in now. Yep, we're 8 months into looking for our forever home with a very patient and committed buyers, thankfully. You've done it perfectly well. And that's why I wrote that blog that said, cash is no longer king. Flexible buyers are now the kings and queens of the property market. If you're living at home or you're on a periodic rolling tenancy, which in the next couple of years, all of them are going to be, but that's a conversation for another time, then you are in the best position to get that dream home. So yeah, fantastic work. You've done exactly what you need to be doing, and hopefully you find that forever home. And I'm sure you're searching with one of the avocado partners. Will, any little secret squirrels that you can tell us about? Any little nuggets around the corner from me or anything? What have you got?
Well, I think, Stu, you mentioned an interesting point there. Could be your forever home for the next 30 years. We've just taken something on in Little Sandhurst, where the seller has been there for nearly 50 years. It's a 4-bedroom link detached in a cul-de-sac in Little Sandhurst. Again, we've recently done the Beat the Portals. It may go live tomorrow. It's the perfect opportunity to put your own stamp on it. A lot of the other houses have extended. It's got a lovely large garden, plenty of sunshine coming through, and it's coming on at 625. So that is a bit of a rare gem, I'd say.
Yeah, beautiful. And Little Sandhurst, they sell so well down there. So wouldn't surprise me if someone else is in Little Sandhurst that wants it. So yeah, a couple of crackers there. Looking forward to that. Gents, love the conversation. Lots of good advice for people. And like I always like to say, if you're watching this and we're not live, please still ask us questions. We will answer them. Make sure you follow everyone's page. And yeah, thanks again for everyone being involved. Matt, Stuart, Will, see you all soon. We're back Thursday next week, 6 o'clock. Make sure you join us.